and 0105. I'll read some technical language at the beginning, and then we will go to colleagues on the council for opening statements, then to our panelists, and then make sure that we are hearing from the public as well. So please bear with me. In accordance with Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 executive order, modifying certain requirements of the open meeting law and relieving public bodies of certain requirements, including the requirement that public bodies conduct its meetings in a public place that is open and physically accessible to the public, the City Council will be conducting this hearing virtually. This enables the City Council to carry out its responsibilities while adhering to public health recommendations and ensuring public access to its deliberations through adequate alternative means. This public hearing is being recorded and live streamed on the City of Boston's website, boston.gov/city-council-tv. It will also be rebroadcast at a later date on Xfinity 8, RCN 82, and Fios 964. Anyone who would like to testify on this matter, please email juan.lopez@boston.gov for the Zoom link. Today's hearing, again, is on dockets number 0104 and 0105, which I will now read into the record. Docket number 0104, message in order to declare surplus city-owned former Public Works Department parcel property known as Windsor Street in the Roxbury District, Ward 9, parcel 02025020, to transfer the care, custody, management, and control of said property to the Public Facilities Commission. Docket number 0105, message in order to declare surplus two city-owned former Public Works Department parcels to transfer the care, custody, management, and control of said properties to the Public Facilities Commission. The parcels are located in the Roxbury District at Tremont Street, Ward 9, parcel 02240020, and Melnea Cass Boulevard, Ward 9, parcel 02225005. These matters were sponsored by the mayor and referred to the Committee on Planning, Development, and Transportation on June 3rd, 2020 and October 7th, 2020, respectively. I am joined by my colleagues, Councillor Michael Flaherty and Councillor Kenzie Bach, and we will go first. Oh, and I see Councillor Frank Baker as well. And so we will go first around for an opening statement from any colleague who wishes. Councillor Flaherty.
In order of arrival, Madam Chair?
Yes. Councillor Flaherty, go ahead.
Oh, very good. Thank you very much. So thank you, Chairwoman Wu, for hosting today's hearing. And of course, thanks to the mayor for putting this important matter before the council. As our city continues to grow and change, the needs for our municipal building portfolio will also continue to shift as well. And I know the Public Facilities Commission, they exist primarily for that purpose, to facilitate those shifting priorities. So as the Public Works Department indicates they no longer need these two sites, it does present an opportunity for the Public Facilities Commission to maintain them until it can be determined how they can best benefit the public good. So obviously I look forward to using this hearing to highlight the work that the Public Facilities Commission does, in addition to identifying the sites and the plan. Really, it's really about the plan and what the future plan for those sites is, and the community involvement and direct abutter involvement. So I'll be looking to sort of get a sense as to the fact that Public Works no longer needs these parcels. What can these parcels be used for? What are some of the thoughts and plans behind that? And obviously, how can we engage the community and in the direct abutters in that process so that everyone feels that they're part of it? So thank you, Madam Chair. I look forward to hearing the testimony, and I have some questions at the appropriate time.
Thank you, Councillor Flaherty. Councillor Bach.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I'll be brief, just say that I think public land and municipal buildings are one of our main public assets in the city, and really a very important thing for us in the council to steward. And so appreciate the work of the Public Facilities Department, and happy to be here today. And I'll have questions at the appropriate time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bach. Councillor Baker.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Madam Chair. Same sort of sentiment there, just here to see what the plan can possibly be, if there is anything that we're thinking of, and thank people for their work, and good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Councillor Baker. Oh, and I see Councillor Flynn has joined us as well. Councillor Flynn, would you like to give an opening statement?
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Wu. I'm here to learn more about the proposal. Thank you for your leadership and Mayor Walsh and the team's leadership on this issue. Thank you, Councilor Wu.
Thank you. And Councillor Asabi George.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I apologize for tuning in late. So to avoid duplicating anything that my colleagues have said, I will yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I think that is, let me scan the list again. I think that is all of our colleagues on the council. So we'll turn it over to our administration representatives. Thank you so much for joining us. Ms. Fletcher, Mr. Wright, in whatever order you wish. Why don't we start, if you could present, let me look at the documents again. So we're talking about 3 parcels today. I think let's go docket by docket. It seems that 2 of the parcels are grouped together. So why don't we start with 0104 and then we'll do questions and then the other batch of the 2, unless you think that it makes more sense to do them all at once. Okay, all right. So let's start with 0104, please.
Great. Thank you, Councilor. Good morning, councilors. My name is Shawnee Fletcher. I am a development officer in the Neighborhood Housing Development Division of the City of Boston Department of Neighborhood Development and the Grassroots Open Space Program Manager. I am here before you today to request the surplus of this parcel in the Roxbury neighborhood so that D&D can proceed with a request for proposals to preserve this parcel as open space for the Grassroots Open Space Program in conjunction with the abutting parcel on which a community garden already exists. In February of 2020, the Public Works Department of the City of Boston requested transfer of this parcel to the Department of Neighborhood Development as they no longer had a need for the parcel. In May of 2020, the Public Facilities Commission voted to transfer the parcel from the Public Works Department to the Department of Neighborhood Development for redevelopment. In October of 2020, D&D initiated a community process to discuss the future use of this parcel, and community support was strong for its preservation as open space and future disposition in conjunction with the abutting parcel containing a community garden. That community garden has been in existence for about 40 years. D&D intends to issue a request for proposals by early April. We respectfully request that the committee advance this vote to be voted on by the full council at its next meeting so that D&D may proceed with the disposition process. And I'm here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Wright, you'll just take the next 2 parcels when we get to them? Or are you here for, okay, great. So so just on this particular open space parcel then, I guess I'll toss out one question and then dive right into my colleagues. So is the idea, is the RFP restricting this in any way to permanent open space? And how does the legal language look like? And is the eventual, or is it limited to only nonprofit organizations or other sort of open space advocacy groups to be able to bid on this, or who do you anticipate will bid? I guess that's 2 questions, sorry.
Sure, no problem. So we do expect that the larger parcel, the community garden, will be restricted as permanent open space, and that the smaller piece, which is this parcel that we're discussing today, will be restricted in some way. There may be a small portion of it that's used as part of an entrance to the area, but the general purpose would be for this land and the larger community garden to be preserved permanently as open space. And we anticipate a nonprofit organization applying. We don't generally require that purchase of land be for nonprofit organizations, but they will have to abide by any deed restrictions, and any funding that we offered to make permanent improvements to the open space would have to go to a 501c3 organization.
Great, thank you. Councilor Flaherty?
First round of questions.
Yep, just on the open space parcel.
Sure. Well, I had a broader question as to how many properties does the Public Facilities Commission presently have under its control, and I wanted to get an approximate size of the property that's in question today. The 2 properties that we're dealing with today, I just want to get the overall size of the property in terms of square footage.
Yeah, this parcel that I'm presenting is 5,000 square feet. I can share the fact sheet if that would be useful on the screen, but the Department of Neighborhood Development has, I think about, Donald, correct me if I'm right, 1,000 parcels in our inventory at this time, working actively on disposing of. We have many active processes happening on many of them to dispose of them.
Okay.
I don't know
And
if
then
you want
on
to add
average-
anything to that question, Donald.
Yes, well, just one. I'll have a follow up on that. Is on average, how long do the properties generally stay under your control until they're repurposed?
Well,
Donald,
Donald, do you want to answer that?
Yes, good morning, Council. Donald Wright, Deputy Director of Real Estate Management and Sales in the Department of Neighborhood Development. Some of our, and I'm sorry for an echo, my bandwidth may be a little off there, but our sort of length of tenure, I would say, over land parcels, it sort of varies. We've had parcels in our inventory for, many, many decades that may not have the development potential at a particular time. And now we're seeing that we have a number of parcels, and Council, I'll get you a list of them, in various stages, as Shani had mentioned. Quite a number of our parcels are currently in the community process, and I can get you that specific number, as well as ones that we're drafting RFPs for right now, and then a number of parcels that are currently under review. We've been fortunate, and that during this midst of COVID, that we've been able to adapt and keep our process really going. We moved pretty quickly in the process to make sure translation was up to par, that we were using the right platform to communicate with our constituency.
Thank you, Donald. And then just lastly, Madam Chair, I'm curious as to, what is the process, for interested parties to propose, certain new uses for those properties, and who would they need to get in touch with? Say, for example, it's an abutter, or it's someone in the community that identifies that site as an appropriate location for X or Y or Z. What is the process by which they could put forward their idea, and/or who is the contact in your department for them to at least engage and start those conversations with the community?
Yes, Councilor, again, typically requests come in, and they can come into the Neighborhood Housing Division, or they can come directly to the Real Estate Management and Sales Division. But typically it comes in with a general request. We want to understand the project in and of itself, but it really starts with the community process. If it's in a butter that may be interested in a side yard or something to that effect, what we want to do is really engage them in a conversation, an initial dialogue. We don't want folks to think development is easy. We want to make sure that they have clear and concise information about how the city disposes of land, what mechanisms do we use to dispose of land. We want them to clearly understand what the process is for request for proposal, funding, and that sort of thing. So a lot of it really starts with initial conversation with folks like myself, or even Shani for that matter, when she's speaking relative to the grassroots program. But we do have mechanisms in place, and it can come from an expression of interest, which can be done on our website as well. So we try to have as many avenues or opportunities for our constituency to gauge and ask those types of questions, because we understand the dynamics in the market changing in our neighborhood.
Thank you, Donald and Shani, for the work you do, and thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Flaherty. Next up is Councillor Kenzie Bach.
Sorry, thank you, Madam Chair. I was looking for the button. I was looking at the maps of these. And we're just doing this one first, right? So I guess looking at the map of this, so it's sort of a small kind of rectangular parcel. When you speak about the neighborhood garden, is that the kind of like L-shaped parcel that just a corner of this one touches? Because then I guess on this other side, it has these long, thin ones that are sort of part of the green corridor running along Melnea Cass.
Yes, it's to the, if you're looking at the map,
Yep.
It's to the northwest. I'm going to open the map right now myself so I think it is an L shape. I think you're right about that. I just have to look at it from my own.
And then it abuts a building that I see the ownership is United Neighbors of Lower Roxbury. What's the use of that?
That is currently not in use, but they are hoping to turn that into a community space and affordable housing.
Okay, got it. And so, and is that, and is it the United Neighborhood of Lower Roxbury that also owns the community garden? No,
They
it
don't.
looks like we're the owners.
We are the owners of the community garden. They are interested in pursuing ownership of these parcels
Okay,
to maintain as open space, and they do manage the community garden and
got it.
license it.
But today we're not talking about the parcel that we own that they have the community garden on, right? We're talking
No.
about other smaller one. So
Yes.
what's the path for that one that they actually have the community garden on being considered for?
Great question. Thank you, Counselor. We are planning to issue an RFP for those two parcels together for use as a community garden and open space.
I see. And why is that one already in PFD's hands? Like, why are we considering the transfer of one and not the other today?
Because that garden is in the care, custody, management, control of D&D. The garden parcel is already, and this other parcel was in the Public Works Department. So we needed to surplus it before we could issue the RFP for both together.
And did it have a prior Public Works purpose?
I'm not aware of any. It has a couple of trees and part of a sidewalk maybe, and grass. I think it was just connected to the rest of that open space, but didn't serve any functional purpose other than that.
Okay, so we don't know how it ended up separated when because at some point, right, somebody transferred the garden parcel to PFD. So I'm sort of curious about how did this one end up staying with Public Works
Yep.
at that time?
The garden parcel was owned by United Neighbors of Lower Roxbury at one time, and through some various issues came into our ownership. I could look up the number of years ago, but it was not many years ago, but it was less than 10, I think.
I see. And is it safe to assume that was a tax issue?
Yes, it was a tax issue.
Okay, got it. And so the idea here would be you'd be looking to attach a deed restriction of some kind on the open space parcel?
Yes.
And you would be aiming to make a sort of distinction between open space as opposed to the garden, is the goal, I guess I'm asking to because obviously one vision would be you just extend you'd have a few more gardening beds right over on this side, but another would be a different, is there a distinction in the way that we would do the deed restriction or not?
We would, we have not gotten into the detailed conversation yet of how the deeds would be written, but it would be the garden, what is currently the garden would be permanently preserved as currently the garden. And we would be restricting this smaller parcel. It would not be a building, that's for sure. I think there's a chance part of it might end up being part of a driveway or part of an entrance, but not a building. It would mostly remain green space, like lawn. But
Right.
there's no one has expressed any interest in expanding the garden onto this parcel.
Got it. And then I guess my question would be, so because you're talking about they're thinking, you've got obviously the city's going to do an RFP, but it sounds like you have an interested party here. It's fair to say, right?
Yes.
And that interested party also owns the adjacent built parcel, which you say they're thinking about maybe converting into affordable housing?
Yes, they would like to make it into affordable housing with the first floor as community space.
Okay, so to what extent is D&D contemplating? I assume such a project would be likely to be in some way or other in partnership with the city. Even if it was just, you'd have to find a nonprofit affordable housing developer or something, but D&D is likely to be involved. I guess one thought that I have is, because to me, I think it's really exciting when there are opportunities for us to simultaneously preserve open space and create affordable housing density, right? Because it's really, achieving a union of goals. And also the reality is that, people don't always recognize that, dense affordable housing is actually also a very pro-environmental thing, because of the kind of sprawl that we've invested in as a society is one of the most deleterious things for our environment. And so what I wouldn't want is a situation where D&D creates an open space deed restriction on this little parcel in some way that then 5 years from now, someone's going to develop affordable housing. Someone across the way doesn't like that, and they use the fact of the way that the open space restriction's been written to say oh, well, it's impossible for you to achieve this like setback or whatever. So therefore, like, we can't develop affordably on this site. So I guess this is a long way of saying, like, I'm interested in how connected this conversation can be, especially since your interested party is the same abutting party who's thinking about that development.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I can say, I don't know the full answer of how it will be established, but in terms of the restriction on the smaller parcel, but my program and my program, which will issue the RFP for the garden and this parcel, it lives in the same division as the division that funds affordable housing. So I will be working closely with the folks at the city who are working with, if the abutting owner is through the RFP process is able to purchase these parcels, that we will be working closely together on creating language that will make both pieces of the project viable.
Okay, great. Yeah, because you just imagine a scenario where it turns out there's no way to have an ADA accessible entrance to this portion of affordable housing without taking 5 inches off this parcel. And the last thing I would want is us to not have one hand talking to the other such that, it's
yes.
inviolable such that we can't possibly make the housing work anymore, right? Like this is mainly the thing I want to kind of push on. So,
well, thank you, Counselor. And yes, we will be in very close conversation. I promise.
Okay. All right, great. Those are my questions on that one, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, you're muted.
Thank you, Councillor Bott. Councillor Baker.
Thank you. Good morning, Shani, and good morning, Donald. I want to pick up on that point there. So the party that operates the garden and owns the building, who are they again?
United Neighbors of Lower Roxbury. They've been a community organizing group for many decades and started that garden and are aspiring to build the affordable housing development with, as I said, community space.
Yeah, okay. So I wanted to kind of jump from where Councilor Block was. And so you say they want to build affordable housing. Have they started that in motion at all? Maybe to drill down a little bit on Kenzie.
Sure.
Do they have a concept at least of what that may look like? So when we are drafting the language, we have a sense of what that building is going to be?
Yes, they have a concept, they have a design. They've also been working with BPDA, who owns a parcel just to the northeast of the larger garden parcel. So kind of situated between the building and the garden. There's another piece there that BPDA, and so they're working very closely with BPDA, and we've been in those conversations and met with their designer and the development team. So they're fairly far along in the process. It really can't move forward without these parcels being available for purchase. So
Excellent. So that sounds like we have it well under control there, and it's been thought about, planned, and talked about. So what does the site look like now? Is it just a flat space, kind of overgrown, or? No,
it's not overgrown. It's very well cared for. It is really a piece of sidewalk and a piece of grass. So there's a one little pine tree and 2 other bigger deciduous trees, and it's mowed lawn. That's what that parcel is right now.
Okay. I think I'm good. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Councillor Baker. Let's see if Councillor Flynn, are you still on the phone? Oh, I don't see him anymore. Okay. Councillor Asabi George.
Thank you again, Madam Chair, and thank you both for that presentation and sort of discussion. It was pretty robust, and I have, I think, a deep enough understanding, and see that Councillor Bach, especially as the district councilor, has her hand up still. So perhaps I'll just be entertained by her questions and your answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Asabi George. I realize my apologies, I neglected to read a letter into the record from one of our other colleagues at the beginning. So I just want to take a second now to do so. This is from Councilor Julia Mejia at large. Dear Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the committee, I'm writing to inform you of my absence from today's working session in the Committee on Planning, Development, and Transportation on docket 0104 and 0105. Due to a previously scheduled engagement, I will not be sitting in. However, our office will ensure that we are kept knowledgeable on this issue and will follow along closely. Sincerely, Julia Mejia. All right. So again, apologies and thank you for allowing me that. We'll circle back to Councillor Bach, whose district apparently is expanding, but yes, go ahead, Councillor.
I'm sorry. Yes, I recognize I am not the district councilor for this, but I just wanted to ask quickly about, because I noticed, and you referenced it, Shani, just now to Councillor Baker, that little BPDA sliver that, I mean, looks like it would mainly be helpful for access issues to the site. What is the, like, you say they've been talking to BPDA, what's the kind of timeline, like parallel process there? Because obviously here we're trying to consolidate two of the parcels in PFD. It feels like it would ultimately be ideal for the three things to kind of like be together. And so is there a hope that BPDA is going to also transfer its parcel to PFD, or that BPDA does some kind of title assembly thing to put the three things together, or like what's the kind of conversation with them?
Great, thank you. Yes, they would not transfer it to us. They would do a separate process, and they can directly designate it. They don't have to do an RFP process with this parcel. So that is their intention when the larger projects are ready to go ahead. And our being able to issue an RFP for these is, again, one of the steps in between now and that happening.
Got it. I see. So once you guys have a kind of pulled together thing, BPDA can.
Yes, and those processes can run parallel.
And I do think it would probably be helpful, Madam Chair, or unless you have this, Shani, I was wondering if I could maybe just like throw up very quickly the image of the parcels we're talking about, or if Shani had a fact sheet on it. I'm just thinking about, for someone watching at home, that it might be helpful to see.
Yes,
Do you have it available? And do you have screen share capabilities right now?
I'm not sure of the screen share, but I can definitely
I think it's
just made a screenshot of that image. And let me see if I do have share screen available. So if you just give me one moment.
Madam Chair, when we're working on that, can I just ask one question?
Of course.
I thought I just heard it was Kenzie's district. Is it Ken? It's yeah. That had me confused. Okay, thank you. I had to clarify that one.
Not even bordering.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
I apologize. Did I start that ruckus?
No, I appreciate you deeding it to me, Councillor Sabi George,
Yeah.
but I'm not trying to start any fights.
It's Ken's district, correct?
Yes, it's Councillor
Yes, okay.
Janie's spread.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay, I think I can do it from this. Let me see. Share. Yes. So this is it large enough? There we go. So are you able to see my mouse?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is the parcel we're presenting today for the transfer to D&D. This yellow one is the BPDA parcel. This larger one is the garden. And this green space here is the building, the existing building. And this is where the rest of the public works, that's just sort of greenway kind of space is, that Public Works still owns and will maintain.
And I think, just to editorialize, that colleagues can see why I'm concerned about making sure that there's an ability to access the parcel potentially from the developable parcel from the one we're talking about today, because it's really the one we're talking about today that kind of provides the collective access to that corner of Warwick and Windsor.
Right. So I think the intention is that the driveway will come in here, and then this will remain open space. I have not seen the designs very recently, but that would be the intention if this goes to the abutting owner.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, I think we're one round through. Do any other colleagues have questions on this particular parcel? Okay, seeing no takers, thank you very much, Shani.
Thank you, councilors.
Everyone. Okay, we'll move on to the next docket.
Thank you, Council. I think it may help if I share the fact sheet with everyone so that they can see it. Let's see. Try that again. My apologies. See if I can make this work. Unfortunately, Council, I'm going to have some challenges with it here.
No worries. Just talk us through. And if it gets to the point later we need the image, we can find it.
By all means. Thank you very much. So 2 city parcels owned. Again, let me reiterate. Donald Wright, Deputy Director, Real Estate Management and Sales Division. We're here to request surplus of former public works parcels. 2 city parcels comprising of 14,200 square feet of vacant land, formerly with the Public Works Department, transferred to D&D, and our fact sheet details the surplus. There are 2 unnumbered parcels, Melnea Cass Boulevard, one parcel pertaining of 3,942 square feet, and the other unnumbered parcel on Tremont Street, totaling 10,258 square feet. These contiguous parcels of land will be combined in partnership with the BPDA and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts with other city and state-owned properties to form what is known as the Crescent Parcel site, and include in an RFP following the Plan Nubian Square planning initiative led by the BPDA and in collaboration with D&D. There we go. Thank you. The portions of the property being declared surplus are not needed for municipal purposes and consist of vacant land being available in the RFP. The sites are being offered for mixed-use development with strong requirements for local economic development and affordable housing. And I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay, we'll go around. I'll save mine for last. Let's see, Councilor Flaherty. Councilor Flaherty, are you there? Okay, I think he might have stepped away. Councilor Bach?
Donald, do you mind throwing up that, or whoever, was it not Donald, whoever got it up?
Someone had my back, Councilor.
There we go. And can you zoom in on it? Because it's a little hard, I think, to read the ownership line.
So you'll see a total of 8 parcels, Councilor, and that will really detail who owns what. And so D&D owns that sort of T or L-shaped parcel. Kind of looks like 2 sidewalks. And then you have the BPDA site and MassDOT site as well.
And can you tell me, Donald, so I'm just looking at this online. So it's confusing on our assessing parcel viewer is that 2 of those green ones are listed as being City of Boston, but they're listed here as, so you see the short side of the orange, like the one that runs out to Melnea Cass?
Yes.
So on the assessing database, it has the green parcels to the left and the right of that also being City of Boston parcels, and then just that crescent corner being MassDOT. So I don't know if that's presumably that's an error on the assessing.
Assessing side, potentially. But all of our research states clear title and ownership.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Then I'll have to make that a follow-up question for me. It's just if we can confirm, because it's sort of, right now assessing's listing all 3 of those across as. Yeah,
what I would say, Councilor, is that when we started looking at this in the first phase of Plan Nubian Square, we knew that we had to go in and identify clear ownership of these. And so between the legal team with the BPDA as well as D&D, there was quite a bit of research done. So I'll get you some clarifying answers there.
Okay, yeah, just because it does look like both of those parcels are listed as City of Boston in our assessing database, so something is off. And then, and this kind of the long ways parcel, often a parcel like that, you sort of wonder, was that an old street? Is there a conduit under that? What's the sort of cause of a parcel shaped like that? Do you have any idea?
I'm not clear, but in some cases, you're right. If you're redesigning a thoroughfare or something like that, you have parcels changing lanes, ownership, that sort of thing. But I can find out.
Okay. And is the ultimate vision here, so presumably Archdiocese intends to continue controlling its parcel. That's St. Catherine Drexel, right?
Yes, I understand that is currently for sale.
Okay. So, and has there been any discussion of the city of Boston acquiring it?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. And what's the vision when we talk about this Crescent site?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the history about the
Sure.
Crescent?
And so there was quite a bit of, community process. Just to let you know that the parcels in question are in urban renewal parcels, the campus high school and the South End urban renewal areas as well. The development objectives here were for sustainable, resilient, and healthy development, really with an economic development driver. Commercial condo, small business, creative equity building strategies are what they're looking for developers to respond with. And then the affordable housing or income restricted housing is calling for a third. And there's also a call for deeper affordability if a developer can get it. We've also drawn some stronger language as it applies to diversity and inclusion, and also being mindful of development without displacement.
Great. And so the idea is to hope to develop the whole set in kind of,
Yes.
and is the state what's the degree of state cooperation here? Is the state bought into Plan Nubian Square? Have they signaled a willingness to provide us with these parcels? What's their?
They have been at the table. Most of those conversations have been had with the BPDA, and I can get some follow up on that with you as well. But they've been at the table very on. This has been in 2017, I think, when we started this process, and then shifting over to the Crescent parcels. So quite a bit of due diligence happening on both sides.
And what about outreach in the public process to the residents of the adjacent Whittier Street?
That's also been ongoing. I even recall hosting, I believe we hosted a meeting there as well. So wanting to make sure that everyone was engaged. We also went to the Roxbury Strategic Master Plan Oversight Committee and made sure that going back to the midst of COVID, when many things stopped, we were still trying to find ways in which we can continue to move it, our development processes, so that when we had the ability to go back, we had some projects that we could really move forward. And so we got quite a bit of support from them to continue the dialogue. And so we've been successful in doing that.
Great. Well, it's great to hear. It's exciting. Again, obviously not my district, but I spent a year organizing out of the basement of St. Catherine Drexel. And so I'm very familiar with that parking lot and sort of the feeling that we could put it to much better use for the community. So,
well, what I will tell you also, Councilor, is the constituency that came out, we had a number of meetings at the Boston Water and Sewer Commission building, and it was very well attended by folks that have some concerns, and they asked quite a bit of questions. And I think that both D&D and the BPDA major stakeholders were really good in getting the information out to the constituency where they felt well informed.
Great. All right. Thank you so much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Bach. Councillor Baker?
Thank you, Donald. How are you?
I'm doing well, Councilor. Good to see you. I feel like I've been invited into your home.
Yeah, well, you have. Here it is. So the idea here is to sort of we have a similar situation, the last docket number where there's BPDA land there. This is to ideally to assemble all these and so it's a planned development on that large corner there. What do we know? We know it's up for sale, the church land, but do we know how far along that is? Are they speaking with somebody, and would we be able to, because ideally it's whoever buys that is the person or people or organization that you're dealing with.
Councilor, I can find out. I can find a little bit more detail about, who's sort of engaging the church.
Yeah.
With the BPDA folks.
And back to the original question, it's an entire parcel there where you could plan it, get some density there, and reach those goals that you need for the third, and the third. Okay, I think I'm good. Kenzie, you did a nice job on you steal all the questions, so nobody has anything else to say. So Thank you.
Apologies, Councilor Baker.
Thank you, Councilor Baker. Councilor Sabi George.
Just as I said before, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to Councilor Bach and Baker, especially for their very thoughtful and in-depth questions. Thank you, Donald and Shani, for being with us today.
Quite welcome, Councilor.
Thank you. Okay, one more
Very
circle back. One more circle back in case Councilor Flaherty is back for this particular parcel. Okay. So Donald, could you just remind me again when the timeline of the larger BPDA process, where the timeline is, and how this
Right.
exactly fits into those steps?
Yep. So with this particular, these two parcels, the actual RFP was released, and it's on the street, and it's due back on April 21st. They had a proposal conference back on February 10th, and so we're I think in a great place. Again, going back to and using COVID as the base, we've been able to continue to move our development process forward.
Okay, wonderful. Anything else that we should know about this particular set of parcels?
No, not at all.
Great. I know we have a few folks who are hoping to testify, I believe. So, I so apologize. I see Councilor Braden. I hope you haven't been there a while, Councilor Braden. Thank you so much for joining. Did you have any questions or opening statement on any of the parcels today?
You're muted.
Oh, you're muted, Councilor Braden.
Thank you. No, I don't have any further questions. Councillor Bach was very comprehensive in her questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to, Donald and Shani, do you have a few minutes to stay for public testimony? We have 3 residents here, and in case there are questions that come up, I would love to make sure everybody
Of course.
Thank you so much. Okay, I will pin everyone now. Okay, and why don't we start with Mr. Singleton, Ms. La Negra, and Mr. Smith. Bill, are you there? Okay. While we might be waiting on some technical issues, Nina La Negra, are you there and would you like to testify?
I just want to make a comment. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Councilor Wu, and just a thank you to all the other city councilors and Shani Fletcher and Donald Wright and others who've been involved with this process of moving this along the development process. It's a long-held desire on the part of the United Neighbors of Lower Roxbury to develop something for the community and to maintain the public garden in that process. So thank you again for your assistance in moving this forward.
Thank you very much. James Smith.
Hi, I'm with the Department of Neighborhood Development as well. I'm just here to observe and support.
Oh, thank you. Sorry to keep you stuck. And then circling back to William Singleton. Okay, I think there might be some technical issues there. All right, so we've heard from everyone. Thank you so much for your time. Last call for comments from any colleagues. Feel free to raise your hands or give a wave. Nope, okay. All good. Appreciate your time, everyone. And this will conclude our hearings on our hearing on dockets number 0104 and 0105 in the Committee on Planning, Development, and Transportation. This hearing is adjourned.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye,
Thank you, councilors.
Have a great day. Take care.
You too.
Ah, God. Ah, shit. Okay. I didn't hear him. Yeah, okay, I'm disconnected. Okay. I was talking to Cameron, that's the reason why. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm sure I hung up. Plus, I muted it. Hey, Cameron. Okay, I was called to testify. All right, we'll talk. Okay. Bye-bye. Yeah.